Can I just ask you about competitions? Because you won a lot of competitions when you were young as a player, and also competitions at the academy, the Beam Prize. I mean, it's hard to have a general view, I guess, of competitions. I think that that was fantastic getting that Ramirez guitar, and some competitions can really put people on the map. But do you have a feeling about that competitive nature? I don't have a competition here at this retreat. Do you know it's much more just kind of a celebration of artistry, let's say. But I don't think competitions are all bad. I'm not against them, but I wanted to hear your thoughts.
No, I'm kind of in the middle as well. But I can't really say anything negative about them because I won some and they were really helpful. Nowadays there are lots of competitions across the world, and so a competition doesn't necessarily, winning an important one, it's helpful, but it doesn't suddenly put a young player on the map. But it doesn't rub them off either. And I remember, the first ones that I ever did was the Bream Prize at the Academy, but that was just for the students, and now it's got my name. I've continued because Bream said that he would prefer to stop doing it because it's a whole day. You go there, you have to listen to everyone, and then you have to make up your mind. So Michael asked me if I would take it over. And that's fine, I will do for some years, but and then someone else will have to do it. But so the way it went was Julie Bream would come up from where he lived in Dorset or whatever, and I was 16. So I was brand new in the academy, and they had it right at the beginning of the year. And I thought, I had not a chance because there are all these really good players, and I had to play two pieces for them. I had to play the very first modern piece I ever played, which I'm going to say I absolutely hated. But I met the composer after. It was Stephen Dodgeson, and I kind of the partita, and I kind of got to like it. But at that time, I just didn't understand this stuff, Why did I write these notes? And the other piece I played was. And so anyway, we each went into the room, and Bream sat there, and he had a bottle of wine. and he listened to us, but he didn't just kind of like listen and then get rid of us. He gave us advice and things. So I got him kind of about halfway down the bottle of wine, which is probably the best, And he spent a long time with me, also with the others, especially with the first years, first and second years, the younger ones. Obviously, he knew the older players, Michael and. Doug Rogers, and there's a few others that have continued. And so I always remember that he said, I used to play with my little finger in the air like this. I can't even do it now. And it sort of waggled around and things. And he said, can you, I can't do his accent, but he said, can you play that bit again? And so and he said, if you play with your little finger like that, you'll never be good. And I just remember that bit. I don't remember anything else that he said to me. It really shocked me. Well, from the moment I got to London, Hector Quine, the teacher, had been on at me about this finger. By 1 week, my finger was... So, a fright from Bream. So at the end, we sat outside and waited, and then he came out and he said, that was very nice today, and you did this. And then he pulled £5 out of his pocket and said, and you win, and give me it. That was it. It was so simple. It was an internal thing. Then it got bigger, and much more official and things. It was very nice. Then the other competitions were almost by chance, but I realised that the Ramirez competition, the guitar competition, was something that really was in my interest because I had no good guitar and no real prospect of having £1,000 or something to be able to pay for something like that at that time, and so it was great to win. And then the other ones I went in for because when you finish studying at the academy, you have to teach. Just to live, and I was teaching in 5 schools in London. We went a morning here, and then an afternoon there, and then a free day, and another one over there. And it's really wearing when you're trying to practice for your own pieces and trying to sort of hopefully you get a little concert in 3 months' time, and you're teaching even if you're only teaching 20 hours, but you probably have to travel another 10 to do that, you know, so that basically it's got rid of your week. And then when you get home, you know, I mean, some kids are great at things, but teaching in some schools is, well, those of you who've done it, it's sometimes really wearing, because the kids they only take guitar because they don't want to do gymnasium. You know, they just want to, you know, some of them are great, some of them are not, and it's a lot of effort for a young kind of, you know, a guitarist who wants to do their own thing. So when a competition, I don't have to teach for 6 months. You know, it's just like it was suddenly different, and so I went in for another one. You know, just like that. It wasn't anything that am I for or against competitions at that point. And I didn't even think of them as some sort of stepping stone for a career or anything. It wasn't. That was. It just, wow, you know, it just suddenly changed how my life was in London. I didn't have to go and teach because I had enough money to simply pay the rent for my gigs.
And you can practice all the time.
Practice, that's right. And so then coming around to the essence of your question, I mean, some people don't need to do competitions, and some careers and some players have developed completely without competitions. Nowadays, there are what we call concurseros in Spanish. Concurseros means competition guys, you know. I don't do juries, but I've had to do just had to do a couple this year or last year. You see exactly the same people. There are some people who obviously they're super ability. You know, they're very, very agile players. I mean, wonderful players, very solid, nerves of steel, and so they go up there and they really play. And now, does that make them into concert players or not? It doesn't disqualify them. You know, but sometimes the most median one is the one that actually gets the most points because they take the fewest risks musically. But I must say, last week in the States, there's a French boy who won in front of me, 3 others. I didn't hear him, but everybody said he was so musical, because 1 or 2 people said he was the least accurate. But I'm really glad that he was by far the most exciting, it seems, you know, and so that is often not valued in the competition. Well, it's valued, but then said, but you screwed up here and here and here. You know, if you screw up too often in a competition, you know, it's hard.
Well, it's also the culture. I think sometimes in a competition you feel yourself, if you've made one mistake, then you're out.
Well, that also happens in concerts, though. You know, concerts, it's also, for a young player, it's a little bit ruthless, you know, that people are comparing you to John Williams or something, you know. So the young players in some ways have to prove themselves again and again. But, you know, when Bream was playing these last years, people didn't really mind if he messed up a little bit because he gave you some wonderful moments.
Absolutely,
So the golf analogy is that, you know, it doesn't matter if you make a few bogeys as long as you make a whole lot of birdies. And Bream did that all his life. He made a few blotches, but boy, he gave you some great moments.
Absolutely.
So it was worth almost kind of not really, and he didn't seem to lose his confidence if he had a rough patch. And some of the players I've seen, if they have a rough patch, they go downhill. You know? Exactly. And so I think the secret is, okay, just accept it. We're not perfect, and make sure that those imperfections don't hurt the overall excitement and communication that you can give.